Welcome to the Community Workbench. I am your host, Matt Noren. This episode is brought to you by yours truly, the realtor, Matt Noren of Remax Bell Park Realty. For all of your real estate needs, call me at 860-428-6534. Your dreams are my job. Now to the bench, where we interview small business entrepreneurs, community leaders, charities, and pretty much whoever I feel like talking to. Today, we have my co-host, Kyle Morrissey. Kyle is always here, always doing a lot for this show. Tech support and research and development for us. And he's monitoring Facebook Live. So if you have any comments, questions, and this in particular episode, we are interviewing a charity. So there'll be ways to donate if you'd like to donate coming up. And without further ado, our honored guests, Tommy Toy Fund's own Betty Sheldon and Jim Conrad. Thank you both for being here tonight. How are you? Say hi. Jump right in.
Hello, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm liking your gear as well. That's yeah, absolutely.
The community podcast garb you're talking about? Yeah. These are brand new. Kyle got them for me for a Christmas gift. I really appreciate it. And he had John Jenna of JG Creations do them, and they're all laser engraved. Really, really nice.
Looks
hats
good.
and coasters.
Yeah.
So
And the hats look good too. So
yeah.
Good to
Thank
have
you.
logo gear.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So Tommy Toy Fund, where do you guys want to start? Is the history kind of like somebody want to jump on that and kind of give us the rundown on how it started?
Like all stories, let's start at the beginning.
Perfect.
So 1974, Norwich Bulletin received a letter from a young person in Norwich who said, my parents aren't working. They don't have a lot of money. They think they can pay their bills, rent and utilities and whatnot, but they don't think there's going to be much left for Christmas. And so the little boy, his name is Tommy, he had a sister as well, said, do you think somebody could help? And so the Bulletin, the editor at the time, Greg Lafreniere, and the reporter, Don Bond, who I'm sure most people will remember very fondly, wrote a story about it. And it wasn't a big story. It was buried inside the paper a little bit. And they asked, basically, is there a Santa Claus? And the next day the paper came out, and the response was overwhelming. Wow. There were just loads of toys and fun stuff for Tommy's family and for many other families that they were able to donate to needy families. And they thought, what a nice thing that we did. And the next year, some readers reached out and said, hey, are you doing that thing again? And so they said, oh, yeah, I guess we are. And that's how Tommy Toy Fund started. So it was a Norwich Bulletin project for a long, long time. And while it's still loosely affiliated with the Bulletin, it's its own 501c3 nonprofit. And so we are coming up on 50 years next year. And so it just keeps growing and growing. It used to be a Bulletin primarily project, and now as fewer people are at the Bulletin, more community members are involved, and it's just taking off. And it's wonderful that the community members, in terms of donating, doing toy drives, helping with distribution, helping promote it, it's been wonderful. So it really is a community event now.
Wow. Now, I know I volunteered at Tommy Toy Fund last 4 or 5 years. And my office, usually sends a bunch of people. We love the idea. Every kid should have a Christmas, should have a gift. That's a big deal for a lot of people. I just think I can't imagine, parents will threaten to take away Christmas or something if you're acting out, but I can't imagine actually that ever happening. And for such a organization to exist, and the fact that Norwich Bulletin it kind of went naturally. Just the community just said, "Hey, aren't you guys doing that?"
Right. And so we responded, and bulletin employees for a good chunk of November and December, would be focused on that. And it was interesting, back in the old days before internet and even Excel spreadsheets, I think, we would run a coupon for 2 months in the paper, and they would, write their names and the names of their children and have it okayed by their local social service agency, and then they would drop it off at the bulletin. So we would get dozens or hundreds of envelopes a day over the course of this, have to check it out, make sure it's okay, and then someone would have to create a list of all the people now. So it's a little bit easier now, but that's where it started from. And so again, it took off like wildfire, and you don't realize the needs of the community. Some people may look like they're doing well, or not everybody who's needy looks needy, right?
Right.
So everybody has different needs. So we've been very happy to help folks. We used to have a salary requirement, family of 4, poverty line type of thing, and we've done away with that. We figure if people are coming to us, they need it.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to give it to them. Yeah. Absolutely.
When I'm there, I usually am in the back. You basically get the list of, not the family's name, but like it's, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, their ages, and then you basically go shopping through all the donated toys and put it in the cart and roll it up to the up front. But when you get there, the line's out the door, and it's down, and people are waiting in cold weather, and it's unbelievable how many people will go through. And I'm like, we're helping so many people. It's it's really heartwarming to see, in that it's great that there's very little red tape for people to receive this this service.
Right. There's very little red tape, but we, as I said, we are partnering more and more with community members, and so the social service agencies who used to just kind of sign off on it now actually register their own clients, and so that means, we have a couple dozen social service agencies, so they take care of their group,
right,
and everything's done online. And so we can track how many children of certain ages and genders at each location. And we have 3 locations in the region.
Wow.
And we have businesses and volunteers getting involved on distribution. I know a lot of companies and corporations do that. Some folks even pay their people to come out. That's a part of their community service. Are you getting paid for that? Or?
No.
Oh, you got to talk to your employees.
But we work on commission anyway. It's real, real salary, but then there's no days off, and there's no days you have to be on either. So it's a very good setup we have. But I remember working side by side with, I think it was a bunch of guys from UNFI,
Yes.
and they were all just told, report here for the day, and I was just like, that is so cool, and they were more than happy to take a day and go do that. So
if we could, I mean, the companies involved at all different ways go from the 2 casinos, which are mega employers, down to mom and pop stores, in insurance agencies and realtors and stores who may have toy drives, all the way to that, or just have 1 or 2 people from their store or operation who come volunteer at different places. And when you go even further, the distribution, which is coming up next week, is the end of the journey. So we usually meet a few times a year to get going. But we also set up contacts with the social service agencies to make sure if there's anything new. We set up contact with the local police and fire departments. There's toy drives going on this past week and upcoming. The state police, both in Troop D and Troop E, have toy drives. So if you see a cruiser out there in front of a Job Lot or a Walmart or a Dollar General. Nobody's in trouble. They're just there, and people will come in and when they're shopping and be very generous and drop off a toy or a stuffed animal or a book or whatever. And we were able to do that from Norwich all the way up to Putnam.
Wow.
Oh.
That's, and I'm sure surrounding areas, just because of the reach, especially with social media now. And
Right.
hopefully this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes from there. There's also some a few larger fundraisers, that we get financing from, but it's again communities from the biggest companies to people who may have been beneficiaries of Tommy Toy Fund before helping out now.
Right.
Wow.
So it
Yeah,
runs
50
that
years
gamut.
ago.
Goes full
And-
circle.
And I don't think we've ever counted, but it has to be thousands of people every year who volunteer that. And I think because they know about 99.5% of our money goes directly to the kids.
Right.
Anything else maybe a printer or something that we need. We're all volunteers. Nobody gets a salary. It's just supplies and toys for kids.
Yeah.
Even to the point where we get, there's two ways we get toys. One is through donations, which are going on now, but we also buy toys. Mike Matera from Surplus Unlimited in Norwich, he knows how to get a good deal, so he goes to different toy shows during the year, and he'll buy in bulk,
Oh, wow.
which helps us
Wow.
to form the foundation, and then we supplement with the locally donated toys. So and he usually goes to Chicago, I think, in March, and Las Vegas in the summer, looking for toys and books, appropriate toys, appropriate books. We want to make sure they're age appropriate, non-violent, that type of thing, so everybody
Yeah.
can use and
So
feel safe having
it's a
it.
full year process,
a
not
full
necessarily
year.
for everybody.
Right. We have people that work, so Mike's work is done for the most part, except he'll deliver pallets of toys. Usually it's about 25 pallets or so of toys to the site in Dayville, the site in Norwich, and the site in New London.
Wow, that's an incredible asset. One thing it's probably, you guys probably already thought of this, but like if he could kind of write down his process, his contacts and stuff, because that's something that you would want to continue on, even though, with volunteers, there's people that can some years and can't some years and stuff like that. And, people retire and stuff like that, but to be able to pass on the process so that, it can keep being done.
Right. Right.
It's amazing when someone can be talented enough with the negotiations as well to get, the large discounts or even free stuff, negotiated or whatever. But that's something I feel like, because I've been on other committees and with other, charities, and sometimes you get like the same core group and, they're doing all the work, and as rewarding as it is, it still can be burnout factor,
Absolutely. So we're going to sign you up to volunteer.
That's right.
Yeah.
New committee member for the Northeast.
Yeah. And so what we try to do is it's not a burnout thing. Yet, even though Betty, you've been on for a decade or more now,
At
right?
least 10,
at least a
10.
decade, and me as well. And so we're always looking for new people and new avenues
Right.
for folks that maybe we're not familiar, have new ideas or new ways to reach children. For a long time, we didn't have anybody from the Northeast social service community on our board. So Emily Morrison from United Services joined us last year, so that helps. And we've got people from United Way and from Alliance House, in Norwich and New London. So now we've kind of hit all those things. But I think it would be great to get an attorney on board,
Okay.
maybe an accountant,
Yeah.
somebody to do fundraising, that type of thing. We're just kind of, I'm an old sports writer, and we're all volunteers, that we may not have those exact skill sets. We're just kind of doing it with hard work and sweat. So
Right.
yeah.
That's incredible how big it is, and having a lawyer on and those different specialties, especially sometimes you get a lot of volunteers, but no one quite knows what to do and distributing work and whatnot. So, it's kind of like making it transparent. Like, oh, this is what he did last year, so now I call this guy and do that next. You know?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And we've got that kind of setup, and we have talked about that as recently as last night, Betty, wasn't it? About kind of generating new blood, if not
Right.
just to replace the people here, at least to expand our scope of knowledge and
Yeah.
and reach. So
Yeah.
we're always looking for folks who have some talent, who have some ideas, who are willing to work hard,
Right.
but not too hard. I mean, it's no, really, it's not. We're not working that hard. And again, Mike. I'll give you an example. Mike Matera, he takes care of the toys. He's not doing anything with. He's not there in distribution days, or he's not signing people up. And social service folks, may work on signing people up, but not the delivery of toys or things like that. So we kind of have our skill sets and the things we like to do, and if we can do more, we can, and if not, we take care of our part,
Right,
and
right.
others will take care of theirs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, Betty, what role do you kind of play in all this over a decade of experience? I mean, if you want to even start with how you got involved in the first place, and where you came from that.
I got involved because Don Bond asked me to get involved. I attended we called it a gala. It was basically like a charity auction at the Raceway. And it was run by a classmate of ours. And he would gather sports memorabilia throughout the year and trips and hotel stays and things like that. And we would have, we called it a gala, and it was generally held in Thompson. And so we would raise a good chunk of change from those benefits. So from that point on, that's when I got involved on just being on the committee and helping with whatever. At the time, it was just like volunteering, seeing what happens during distribution and leading up to distribution. And then that's kind of how I've been involved. I do mostly, I do the outreach to the volunteers.
Okay, gotcha.
So
you're
recruitment.
Recruitment, exactly.
and a little bit
Yeah.
project coordinator.
So I believe it might have been Kelsey Allard. Kelsey was an intern, wasn't she? With the
Yeah, when
Bulletin?
I was
how
at-
she started.
When I was at the Bulletin, I hired a marketing intern from
That's
Three
right.
Rivers Community College just for Tommy Toy Fund.
Right.
And we had an intern for a couple of years, but then it fell off. And so,
Right.
so Kelsey's back as a volunteer.
And she had
doing
set
well.
up the Facebook page
Okay.
way back when.
Website, yeah.
So yes, it's mostly, and I think it was her recommendation to do like a Google Docs
Okay.
sheet that could be accessed by everyone, and that's how I do it every year. It's just
keeps it
I keep an
organized.
email list of who has volunteered, send out the notes, send out a note and saying here are the dates. Here's the date of the collection days, like the 2 Saturdays when the state police and the fire department are at all the stores. We need bodies back at the site to sort and all that. And that's basically my involvement. And I distribute the posters. We have posters made, and we send them all to the insurance offices and the doctor's offices, all those little mom and pop shops that actually do collections for us.
Yeah.
So I coordinate that, and then I coordinate going to pick up the toys when they're done.
Now, is there like sponsorships? Business, can they call and sponsor? And then is there like events where like you guys would give them a shout out kind of thing for their sponsorship? Is that?
Well,
Is that a
we
thing
don't.
that-
We haven't really done a corporate sponsorship thing.
Oh,
but,
okay.
but I'll give you an example. The Quintal Agency in
Right.
Plainfield, the insurance
Yep.
agency. They are just. They said, bring a toy. Customers, bring a toy, and they would have a ton of toys, right? And so, so I think if a business is interested, their enthusiasm is catchy, and so the people
Right.
who work there and the people who patronize that business, catch it as well. So,
Right.
so we're always looking for new businesses to do that, and I think Quintal Agency has had some competitions with some other businesses.
Yes, Dr. Burt Capitelli's office, they have a competition between the two businesses to see who can collect the most toys. And so they ask that we not pick up their toys until like the very last day.
Do they negotiate to get picked up second as opposed to?
No, we get them both the same day. Yes, so it's been fun for those two businesses to compete, and it's been a blessing for the kids in our area for what they receive
I gotta say,
from those two businesses.
I gotta say, I love how these names of local businesses are right at you, because they're there every time, and they're, you know what I mean. They're just a pillar for the charity, and that's amazing when it's like, you know, top of mind. You know, all of these great contributors, and then, you know, if they're getting a pile, I'm sure they could take a picture and put it on Facebook, and then the competition start, or just the inspiration starts,
Right,
You know, with
right.
their own, you know, circle, sphere of influence, not fear of influence.
Fear, yes, fear of flying. Yeah. So to go back to with Betty in the group, which has been wonderful. For a long time, the Bulletin took care of the Norwich site, and the New London site was taken care of by the United Way of Eastern Connecticut. There wasn't an official, you know, entity taking care of the Northeast site. It was all volunteers. Like I said, Don Bond, you know, you ran across Don one way or another. You know, he was a police reporter, and so I think some of the people he wrote about may have volunteered as well. He's trying to help them along. So, so there's volunteers. It's all organic up north, and what we've seen is that the toy drives seem to generate the most toys per cruiser up here. I mean, there's more toys, even though there's not quite as many kids in Northeast Connecticut as there is in Norwich. There's more toys that are collected. The volunteers are enthusiastic. The businesses are wonderful, and I think it's served as a great model for the other sites. And I think the other sites are doing as well now. But it was really great to see the organic enthusiasm from the Northeast group. Yeah, and so some of the things that you've done, Betty, we've incorporated at other sites. You know, in terms of you know, toy collections and scheduling and some other things too. You know, frequency of meetings. You know, so you know, they set the model. You know, the people in Northeast Connecticut have really set the model.
Yes, it's been fun, and you know, we've gotten different people to rotate through on the committee, and everyone. We don't have a lot of meetings. We start like maybe in September, and then we've had maybe 2 meetings after that. But everybody has their little part. Someone reaches out to the police department and the fire department. Someone contacts the businesses. Someone, you know. So everybody has a little piece of it, so it's not an overwhelming task.
Wow.
But it would be nice to get some new folks on. Like you've seen the behind the scenes on distribution day.
Yeah.
We have several employees from Jewett City Savings Bank who every year they help us with the collection days. So it's kind of funny how you know, Remax and United Natural Foods and you know, the other real estate offices, they all jump on the bandwagon. They've done it every year. They want their spots. You know, they want to be the first ones to sign up because they enjoy certain aspects of it. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, generates a little bit of competition there.
Right.
Now, are there different committees for each area?
Well, we have a one big board,
Right.
And then each site has their own coordinator, and so it's up to the coordinator. You know, Lorraine Corson from Jewett City Savings Bank has been running the Northeast, and so she has meetings every 2 weeks or so that she was doing to do that. So,
Gotcha.
But a lot of times, you know, especially now, we can text or email or quick
Right.
phone calls about taking care of things. Why don't you tell us about some of the other folks, Dave Shippey and some of the
Dave
other
Shippey.
folks and what they do? I don't know if you guys know Dave or.
It sounds very familiar.
Yes, Dave's
I'm
been
better
involved.
with faces than
Dave's been
names.
involved actually longer than I have.
And me as well.
And
Oh yeah,
longer than you.
I think he was an original with Don Bond.
Yes, he was probably recruited by Don Bond, but he's the lead person in the Northeast for the fire departments and the police departments. So he coordinates with them, which, you know, in the troops or the fire departments, who's going to do the collections on the 2 Saturdays leading up. So they're at the Walmart in Putnam, Walmart in Brooklyn, Ocean State Job Lot, the Dollar Generals, different places like that.
Right.
And then we just arrange, and he helps also with vehicles to go pick up during those Saturdays. Yes.
Right.
So Dave Shippey does that. Steve and Nancy, my sister Nancy, she works with the Putnam school system. Nancy Cole and Steve Schroth, my brother-in-law, he just retired. They help with the vehicles for picking up the toys. They contact Steve Busquets, appliances to get the large boxes that we use during that you've seen
Yep, the
during
box trucks
for
and
collection
everything.
for distribution days. Who else? We had Will. Can't think of his last name. He's a Plainfield police officer. He attended a couple of our meetings as well, which was good with Emily. So he can kind of spread the word and know what's expected. What we'd like to see for the police and what help we can provide for them
Right.
for those days. And then I handle the volunteer side of it, and so everybody kind of has a little part in it.
Yep. That's awesome.
And each site is unique.
Right.
The last 4 years we've been in Killingly Commons. There's been an open site, so they've been very generous to let us use it free of charge. We insure it obviously, but
Right.
and put the Wi-Fi in, but otherwise they let us use it free of charge. Great parking on the bus route.
No.
All of
awesome.
that. But we've been in some other sites too. That we go where we can. One year we were at Killingly High, and
Right.
and
The old Killingly High.
Killingly High. So we had just
The
enough
band.
room for the toys, but all of the people were had to line up outside, and it was the coldest, windiest day of the year, and you felt so bad for them,
Yes.
and so. But again, we don't rent facilities, we don't do
No.
any of that. So we take what we can. But this site's wonderful, so we could fit maybe 80 people inside. Kind of going through the queue.
Right.
You're there this year as
And
well?
Yes.
Yeah, we're back there. We're
Yeah.
back at Killingly
Oh,
Commons.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys, the way it's set up is kind of like a big tarp dividing
Right.
the room. So like a quarter of the room is the front,
Right.
and then the back is where I usually am. And
Right,
then,
right.
You kind of have people just kind of circle around through it, and if I'm not mistaken, there's like mittens and coats and hats and stuff too that people donate or
Handmade.
and-
Local handmade. Yeah.
Yes,
And-
the little group of knitters and crocheters, the Interfaith Stitchers, believe they meet at the Westfield Congregational Church. I'm not sure how often, but probably I would think every week or something like that. They knit all year just for this event. So we have hats and scarves and mittens, and then Mike Matera obtains hats and mittens somewhere too, gloves with matching hats. So we have plenty of that for everyone that comes through, which is really nice.
And then there's the bicycles.
Oh yeah, people donate bicycles, so we kind of treat it like a raffle.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick a red ticket, you have a chance to pick a raffle prize.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, people get so excited
Yeah.
because they were like, "Oh my goodness, my child's going to have a bicycle," when they maybe otherwise couldn't afford it. So
Right.
those prizes are those are really nice, and it makes it a little more festive for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And those are all donated too. We
All
don't
donated.
buy toys of that price. So
No.
So those are all donated, which tells you about the generosity. And I think the most bikes you had one year was 40?
Oh no, we've
It was
had
more than that.
Yes, believe we've had close to 100.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
Wow.
at
I
one
re-
point, yeah.
I remember walking in there and being
And it's-
blown away by
yeah.
the almost
Like there was
pile
no
of
room.
bikes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been close to 100.
Yeah.
So, and again, that speaks about the generosity in the community
Right,
up here.
right.
Yeah. So it's been fantastic.
Yes.
So just to talk a little bit about some of the other sites as well. So
Right.
So again, as there's been fewer people at the Bulletin, we've reached out more, and United Way has been wonderful partners with us, and so they run the site at the Gemma Moran Food Center in New London. It's a gigantic garage, wide open space to service people on the shore, and then in Norwich. We're moving from place to place, and we try to stay in downtown Norwich, and again on the bus route in case people don't have cars or easy walk. And this will be the third year that we're with Reliance Health, which is based downtown. They remodeled their basement, and it's wonderful open space, easy to get down the stairs, take the elevator up and out. And they've expressed great interest, both of them, for staying with us long term. So
nice.
so we're not looking for sites every year, you
Right.
know, and so which got to be pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And, it's October and we don't know where we're going, so you start driving around looking for empty storefronts.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I guess that's all you
trying
can
to
do,
find
right?
a landlord. And
Yeah.
so like I said, so I think as we've asked more of the community, it's responded. Like I
Yeah.
said, and those two nonprofit agencies have stepped up and been wonderful. And as a matter of fact, taken leadership roles, you know, not only at the sites but with our committee as well.
Wow, that is just so cool.
It's very cool. Like I said, it's very cool. And like I said, you see people. You talked about volunteering. I don't think we've ever met anybody who volunteered once who didn't want to come back.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
so I one year. Some friends of mine volunteered, and they ask every year, when is the sign up? How do
They
I get
do.
back in? You know, they're
Yeah.
not with any group or anything. They were just some friends I brought, and they're in it. Yeah.
Awesome.
And for the recipients, we've had several. I mean, there's at least one person every year where they come through and they say, "This is so wonderful. How can I volunteer?" And we tell them we appreciate the thought, but we hope that next year you're in a better position, and when you're no longer a recipient, we'd love to have you. So
Oh, gotcha.
that's
Yeah.
kind of how we handle that.
Okay. Yeah.
So how
Kind
can people that want to volunteer reach out to? Can they go on the website or reach out via the Facebook page if they're just looking to
Sure.
volunteer?
Yep,
Okay.
both. Yeah, absolutely, both. And like I said, we just ask that they make time available and let us know. Usually, it's 4 or 5 hour shifts.
Yeah,
each day.
we try to do 3
know.
to 4 hours.
We don't ask people to.
No.
You know, you're not working 8 to 8. You know, yeah.
But
a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know,
whatever you can. You know,
Yeah.
whatever you can help. And again, there's different things. There's crowd control.
Right.
You know, and you know sometimes that just means getting people in the door and
Right.
and showing them the right way to go. We have laptops set up so we can register you. So you know, so we know who's here, and then we have runners who go get those tickets and
Yeah.
go shopping in the back and come back with the toys. So so we need a little bit of everything
Right.
over the course of the 2 days,
Right.
which is coming up quickly.
Yes.
So it's next Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
So it's coming up fast.
Now, is there a difference between the Wednesday and the Thursday as far as who comes in and doesn't come in?
There is.
Isn't there like a different? Do we want to talk about that or
Absolutely,
Oh, okay.
absolutely. And we've done this for a long time. The people who are registered, so we can plan for, are can come in first thing Wednesday and all day Thursday, and then we ask people who haven't registered to give the registered people an opportunity to come in so they can come in Thursday at noon. So
Okay.
and so, but you know, we want to make sure we have enough toys for those who have registered, and we know we do, and then we hope we have enough for everybody after. We have so far.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where I've gone and cleared out shelves, like literally, like you know, one of these things with a basket and an arm
Yeah.
for like infant toys or something because we're running low. But we've got a good group that keeps in contact. Hey, I'm running short on
Right.
toys for this group an hour or two before they're actually out. So I've hopped in my minivan at one point or my
Right.
pickup truck and just run toys back and forth.
Right.
Wow.
And
We've
so
done that.
and so you know you don't want to have to buy toys in New London when the toys are sitting in
Someplace
Fayetteville or
else.
vice versa. Or
Right.
vice
Right.
versa.
Oh,
Yeah.
But so that brings to the point that not only toy donations but cash donations are great as well. In the
Exactly.
event, you have
absolutely
to go do that.
Absolutely, and people do that, and and so yeah, the two ways is donating toys.
Yep.
And right now, donating cash helps us get started for next year.
Right.
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 Right,
So
right.
so you know we know the giving season and the spotlight season is in late November and December, but again everything that happens after December 25th, right up to the next giving season goes
Right.
into that. So that helps a lot.
Right. That's wild. The whole system itself, and that you said 99% of everything goes to
Yeah, there's no
recipients.
there's no people don't get paid for gas. They don't get paid for
No.
The only thing that we do pay for is on distribution days. We do pay for breakfast and lunch for the volunteers because
Pizza
they're
in the
there.
back.
Yeah, you got Dunkin' in the morning or donuts and coffee in the morning and pizza for lunch.
For lunch.
And but other than that, like I said, we take no salaries. There's no expenses. We've had to buy a printer or a cartridge. Even the laptops are donated.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for the day,
Yeah,
and
right.
so again, the community gets involved in so many different ways.
Right.
Wow. So if I give you my laptop for the day, then I don't have to do anything.
That's right. That's right.
I can still do some on my phone, I guess.
Or we'll sit you there registering people.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'll be in the back.
A need that we have on distribution day, and maybe this, I don't know if you found this, Jim, but we've reached out to like Killingly High School and QVCC for people who could translate, because we do have a lot of folks in the area who are Hispanic, and not all of us speak Spanish. So we have reached out to the local high schools and QVCC for anyone that wants to volunteer to be a
Right.
translator. And they're basically like a greeter, which is really
Right.
nice.
Yeah.
And it just makes them feel very welcome
Right,
for
right.
someone to, say hello in Spanish when they first walk in the door, and so they can feel comfortable right away.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And there's other languages too. Not quite as Spanish is predominant, but there's
Right.
other languages too that
Right.
that we've seen, especially with when COVID hit and people were more people were struggling.
Right.
Yeah, and they
Exactly.
and not everybody's gotten out of that yet.
Right.
They're still
Right.
in that cycle. So
Right.
and again, we don't turn anybody down. We work the best we can to accommodate them. And I think one of the things that gets overlooked is that we talked about the toys and we talked about the hats and gloves and mittens, but we also give an educational book. And talking to Mike Matera, that's the hardest thing to do because you want to find books that are entertaining
Right.
and age appropriate, and within a budget. It's not like we can go to Amazon or a bookstore and buy $1,016 books, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, wow.
for each age group. So Mike's done a wonderful job,
Right.
getting those books at cost or at a great discount through his connection. So, but we want to make sure the kids have books as well. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of the mission.
Yeah, that's a great thing when you're in there and there's just like pallets of cases of books. And you open them and 2-3 books goes in every bag and or per child.
For child, yeah.
And and as siblings they can share them and just learning to read is a huge
Yes.
huge asset. And being like some of the most bonding times I've ever had with my kids is when we're all reading together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Exactly.
Definitely huge.
Yeah. So tell me about I'm going to interview you now.
Okay.
Tell me about your experience as a shopper. Getting the toys.
Right.
So usually it's at least 6 or 7 of us from my office, and we are always out for a good time. And if there isn't a good time going on, we make sure there's a good time going on. So we get in the back. Usually we're all wearing either realtor garb, but also Christmas garb or ugly sweaters or whatever. And we bust on each other, and then it's great when you can have like 2 people to a cart because one's reading the slip and the other one's piling on, and sometimes there's like a lot of toys where because they do the smaller toys for certain things. I don't want to burst any bubbles, but the smaller toys go in a different place than under the tree. You know what I mean?
Go in the stockings. Absolutely.
Careful, this is a family podcast.
So, just going through all those and just always a lot of laughter and fun. And of course, because you're volunteering and you're kind of like out of your daily routine, it's like, shut the phone off and just volunteer and have fun distributing and talking with each other. And then you meet I love meeting people, obviously. That's why I do this. But, I met a bunch of guys from UNFI last year and we were all having a good time and they were telling me more about like some of their products and stuff like that. Cause, I like eating too. The natural food. And one guy was like, he was like the guy for all the natural foods in Big Y's and all the Big Y chains. And I was like, oh, so I have been in business with you forever because I love that section of Big Y. So I mean, to me, it's just kind of like a great social day and a little bit of a break from the norm. And we just go from there. So
it's just one of the things that we talk about the Northeast that we learn from is for a while we were getting balls, basketballs or footballs
Right.
or soccer balls for the older kids.
Right.
Yep.
You know, if you have kids who are ages 10 to 12, good luck trying to buy for them, right?
Right.
And so the balls were easy and universal, but they came up with the idea of having people pump them up so they're ready to go because the balls are 3/4
Right.
inflated. And so I would go back and I'd see, usually it's older gentlemen, right, just sitting in the back talking, pumping the balls up, putting them back in the box, stacking them back up. It was great. It looks like they were having a lot of fun.
Yes.
You know, and doing
fun.
that. Like I said, the strange, you do the strangest things when the
Right.
need calls. Yeah, but it was,
And one
it was
year we
great.
had a gentleman actually volunteer to be Santa Claus. Like, so he came and just sat. He was like a greeter, and he
wow.
greeted people coming in the door, and
Yeah.
he gave me his card and said, "You can call me next year."
Wow.
I thought that was
awesome.
sweet of him. Yes, it
That's
was very
so
sweet
Yeah,
of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you go to the different distribution, the different collection sites. So they're like postal carriers. Rain or sleet or snow or whatever, the police officers or the constables or
yes.
the troopers
Fire
are out there,
departments.
and fire departments are out there. You know, they're not cutting the day short. They're out there
In the bad weather.
braving the weather. Saturday wasn't great for a while, and they were out there.
And Sunday was yesterday was the Atwood Hose Fire Department
Oh,
was
yeah.
out at the Dollar General in Moose Up, and
It was miserable.
Oh,
it was
raining
miserable.
all day.
But
Could have been colder though.
a lot of them have learned they bring their pop-up tents
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they bring their tables, and they'll sit in a car if they're cold, or they'll go in the store. And somebody had brought them pizza, so they were actually having a pizza party out there. So that was really nice.
Yeah, so it's they're not fair weather friends of
Right.
the fun. They're out there and helping out. Yeah,
They are
fantastic.
helping, and everybody's enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And we see that too. Again, Troopy is in Lisbon, and
Yep.
Norwich Police Department is at the Norwich Walmart, and there's other folks around, and they're out there all the time. And actually, the trooper in Lisbon called me because I hadn't called him yet. Hey, we doing this? I go, absolutely. He goes, good. I want to make sure. So again, that's once you get involved, it's it's a bit addicting, and people want to come back.
Right.
Yeah, helping people and even to the so I just had this conversation with somebody earlier today. When I was a contractor and I would have subs, I loved getting them work, especially if they did really well. So like when I was quote unquote big enough to sub out insulation, sheetrock, the stuff carpenters don't want to do. I always I loved it when I could call them and say, hey, I got work for you. You know what I mean? And, this kind of goes along with the same thing. It's just helping people, and there's no better feeling really.
Right.
Is, helping and, just, putting that sense of pride in, and like you said, pumping up the balls. I mean, I don't know if I've met a task that was that bad when you had good company. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No matter
absolutely.
what you're
Right.
doing in life, if you got someone fun next to you and you're just having, good conversation or whatever, there's really not really anything you can't do,
Right.
as far as that goes. And yeah, there's much worse things than blowing up balls.
Exactly.
I think we're putting him on cardboard duty.
Oh,
As long as there's somebody with me.
yeah.
If he's alone, that would be the worst.
Cardboard duty. Yeah, that's a job at the end.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So obviously we recycle, but the thousands of toys that come through, they're all packaged 6
Right.
or 8 or 10 to a
Boxes.
Yeah.
package. So you're breaking them down,
yeah.
and you want to leave the site the way you found it in a timely manner, especially
Right, right.
since especially Reliance House, United Way are using those for other purposes. They're happy to
Right.
leave them to us for about a week. So actually, we start Mike Matera bringing the toys to the sites on Friday. He'll bring them to Norwich site on Friday, and then on Monday
In Daybell.
Dayville and New London will get theirs, and then there's a crew of volunteers. Setting those up and sorting them out for age and gender on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday it's off. But the last couple of years we did something different out of necessity that I think has turned into, again, invention. Comes from necessity. In that with COVID, we didn't stop delivering toys, distributing toys. But what we did is, how can we keep people apart and move them faster? And so we did a lot of pre-bagging. And so,
right.
at least for the big rush in the morning.
Yeah.
And so that way you can move people through quicker, and they're not outside longer or together longer. And I don't think we've had any COVID incidences in any of the sites that I'm aware of, either from recipients or volunteers.
No, and the pre-bagging was a great idea. A great idea.
So if somebody's
It does-
registered, you guys can pre-bag everything they need, and then you can just go back and get that bag. Is that?
Or we
It's
do it by
pre-bagged
age
by
group.
age
Oh,
group.
okay.
So instead
Right.
of saying a boy age 3 and a girl age 5, going back and doing that, we just grab the boy 3 bag and the
Right.
girl age 5 bag, and it's ready to go.
And it's
Gotcha.
ready
And
to
so
go.
it's a little bit quicker.
It is much quicker.
Yeah, and again, there's people may not be able to volunteer on a Wednesday or Thursday,
Right.
but they're there on Tuesday. Boy, we have work for you. So so there's a lot of bags out there, and so like I said, it doesn't sound super exciting, bagging and breaking up cardboard and pumping up footballs, but when you're there doing it, and you see those balls going off the shelf out to kids, it
Right,
makes a
ready to
difference.
use.
Yeah, you're right there helping
Right.
them out.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's almost like a vibe when you walk through the door, and you definitely feel it. And then I want to say it's Target that donates a bunch of shopping carts. So they're in the
okay.
back with us. So we're basically pushing the cart and either loading the pre-bags, or you're bagging and loading. So
okay.
it goes real smooth. I always thought,
We
and
get
then
some
there's-
from Lowe's. We go to Target. Right next door at Staples, they've let us borrow
okay.
a couple too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
they've
awesome.
all been really, really great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's a fantastic site. It really
Yeah,
is.
we're
It
very
really
lucky.
is.
I think this may be the last year we have it, because there's supplies inside. I guess that whoever is going to be taking it over has already measured, but I think we'll be okay, because there are 2 other empty spots in the plaza there. So
Yeah.
I've asked Dave Shippey to reach out to the manager of the site to see if we could possibly look at one for next year.
There's also one
before
next
this
to Dollar Tree that a certain Halloween store goes into every year. in
Oh,
Dayville,
right.
At the end.
I think someone's taking that.
Oh, that one
Right.
Yeah.
too. No
Do
kidding.
we know anybody in real estate that might?
I gotta say, I was just gonna say it's kind of nice that these storefronts are being filled,
Yeah, it's true.
especially as someone who encourages small business to
Right.
thrive in
Right.
our area.
But
Yeah.
again, that's the thing that different people with different
Right.
expertise,
Right.
and in different contacts.
Yeah.
It's great to
Right.
It's great to
Yeah. So the race is on. We have 365 days to find you a new site.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
Yeah, you've
when,
been in there since the first, or a little bit earlier.
when I got involved, the first year I got involved, they did distribution out of the Norwich Bulletin office in Danielson, which was on.
It was not a great, yeah.
It was like
was on
an office,
Furnace?
like about
On
as big
Furnace
as this room. Furnace Street
Furnace Street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't big.
Yeah.
And
or
it-
School
and it was,
Street, School Street, right
it-
behind the Danielson Elks.
right, but it did have that wonderful 1960s smoke stain paneling.
Yes.
Yeah, when you used to be able to smoke at your
probably
desk.
still
when
smell
you're- yeah.
Yep.
And but you've been in this site
This site, it's been
4 years,
I think.
And
yeah.
and so you get the toys. You go in December 1st, right? And you just
Yes.
start setting up. So
Now, have you guys ever been promised the site because it was open, and then September they found somebody to rent it long term, and you weren't able to use it?
We haven't run into that.
Norwich
but
had. So we had a
has.
site for a few years downtown. Great site. People can come in one door and out the other,
Yeah.
you know, and somebody rented it. And how do you
Yeah.
tell a landlord,
Right.
you know, can you hold that off for 6 months, making money,
Right.
especially when it's been empty? So we were able to find another site that we used for a few years. And like I said, I think Reliance House is our permanent home
Yeah.
now.
That's
You know,
nice.
as long
Yeah.
as
That's
they'll
great.
have us, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because people get accustomed to it too.
Right.
They get accustomed to going back to.
And they know where it is. There's no
Exactly.
anxiety of trying
Right.
to find it, the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing we were talking about big rushes before. So when we were at the Bulletin, you'd have people who would get there at 6 a.m. and there'd be lines around the Bulletin, you know, and they may wait for an hour to get in the door. I mean, after it starts, and we try to tell people the toys will be there.
Right.
Right.
You're not going to get the great, you know, there's
Yes.
not a PlayStation waiting for you, an Xbox, the first 5 people, you know, it's not,
Right.
it's not Black
Waiting
Friday
for-
sale, you know, you get the same toys are there. So I think people have understood that. And we've had local police officers there and just to kind of help facilitate the folks coming through. And
We try to get them in as quickly as we can because they're waiting on the sidewalk before we get there to even open the site. And we tell people, please go wait in your car.
stay
We will not run out of toys. I promise.
Yeah, especially that first morning. I
Oh,
mean,
the
and
first
after
morning,
that,
everyone-
after that, it goes through. So
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It is. So if anybody's interested, obviously reach out through Facebook
Yeah.
and
We'd love to have people,
We'd love to have-
more people on the committee and just even resources or ideas,
Yeah.
Especially the fundraising side of it. We definitely would need some help with that.
yeah, we do have a few big events, and I believe the last one is Wednesday.
Really?
It's the Northeast Chamber.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Does their business after hours, and so they're at Bank Hometown in Putnam.
Right.
5 o'clock on Wednesday. So, and the admission is a toy. So, and people have been very generous, bringing
Yes.
big checks, you know, as well. And so it's been wonderful. It's a lot of fun, and that type of donation gets us, like you said, the last minute things if we have to buy anything.
Right.
or-
yeah, I've been to that event a couple of times. Most realtors go to events like that.
Yeah, sure.
Free food.
Great networking.
Yeah, a card in
Yeah.
your pocket or two. Yeah.
of
Oh, yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, they do the raffle with you put your
Oh, you
business
put your-
card in,
Oh, that's
in
right.
there, and then yeah, and they always do the big donation there, and donation of I think they do a check for and toys usually.
Yeah, the bank's been very
Yeah.
generous, but
Very.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many times people have come up to me and go, "Here, this will help out too." And you go, that's got a few zeros on it, so it's been really nice.
That's awesome.
and generous. Yeah.
Yes. And the fire departments, in the police department, that while they're out there, freezing on those 2 Saturdays, they collect money as well and turn that in, and we send that down to Norwich as well. So every little bit helps
yeah,
for next year.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, and then to continue on, like I said, I think you all need apprentices.
Yeah.
A successor.
And so now let's say this reaches somebody in Worcester or somebody in some other town. How might they start their own Tommy Toy Fund? Is that like a possibility? I'm sure these 3 kind of got started at different times that we have here in Connecticut. Now, would it be another, what do you call it, chapter or branch? Like how that would keep going?
Well,
to
it started as a bulletin thing within the bulletin distribution area.
Oh,
and so
okay.
that's how it stayed there. And we try to keep, because it's local people donating, try to keep it to local, because other areas of the state, you know, may have a Toys for Tots or or something familiar like that.
Yeah.
But that said, a few years ago, we had a surplus of toys, and we had found out that the New Haven Police Department was doing their own, toy distribution. Somebody broke in and stole their toys.
oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
And so, at that time, we had already put our toys away. We were using Foxwoods, which is a great partner with us, along with the son. their warehousing site in North Stonington, right off the highway, and we talked. And we said, we've got extra toys and they have none. So we sent, I think it was 15 pallets on a Foxwoods truck down to help them out, and then we figured we'll figure out what to do next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But those kids needed the toys now. But for the most part, the farthest west we go is Willimantic, Colchester, because those folks take advantage of some of the social services and businesses in this area. So that said, it'd be hard to turn a kid away, if they came out,
Right.
So,
Wow.
but to start, I think I know the Boston Globe has their Globe Santa program. There's other toy charities in this area. Like I said, Toys for Tots, which is Marines, right? I think that's national, but there's some. I know Putnam does a good job with theirs, and I think Groton does a good job with theirs. So where we can't help people, others are there as well.
Right.
And we try to keep them going to one site. So the more kids get something rather than a fewer kids getting a lot. From different places.
Yeah.
So
Totally get that.
And speaking of that, we've done, again, led by the Northeast group, done a good job of having social service agencies on site. During distribution. So if somebody comes in obviously in need, maybe they are in need of fuel assistance or rent help or maybe mental health help or whatever. So our partnering agencies are there to help them as many ways as they can while they're getting toys.
Oh, that's awesome. So then they have that access to the other services.
Right.
Yeah, especially if they don't know where to go. And wow.
Or afraid to make that first phone call.
Right.
Somebody friendly is at a desk and they can say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's worked out well. And we have those folks have volunteered, so they're there anyway. So it just makes it easier.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can kind of sense or kind of gauge where that might be needed, and it's good to have those people on site.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So if you guys haven't done it yet, start knitting. All right, we got a week.
It's funny, but I do have quite a few knitters in my family.
Oh, all right, awesome.
So,
Get them going for next
we'll see.
year.
They usually watch. They've been really supportive of this. So it's.
Like I said, it's great to thank people in person, but even beforehand now, if people are watching this, that they'll be out helping. For those who have helped, thank you. Whether it's donating a toy or being out there collecting them or helping with distribution or register people. The social service agencies, again, so if you have 20 clients and you take care of your 20 clients, so the work is broken up. So we don't always know who from those agencies is signing their clients up or what those names are, but we're really appreciative that they're taking and again doing their part.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I think it was Foxwoods IT group that actually set up the computer database for us, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a time where we had a good for the time database where you could register people, and when Foxwoods got involved, they got involved in a big way right away. In toy distribution, our toy collections, they would encourage people coming in on buses. The senior centers from New Jersey or whatever to bring toys, and they would do stuff a bus. And the first year they ended up stuffing 3 buses.
Wow.
So the Foxwoods group was great, but at the same time, their IT folks saw we can improve on this, and so we're able to do better searches. We're able to do easier input. This year, in the past, the social service agencies would have to register a child every year. Even if they just change their age, now it automatically changes.
Oh,
If
nice.
so and so had a 3-year-old boy last year. Now he's a 4-year-old. So they don't. So you're not duplicating work. So they're always improving that process as well. So that to help us do that. And that's the thing too is not that it happened often, but somebody may think I'll go to one site and then maybe I'll go to another site. When everything's done on paper, everything's done now. So if I come to Danielson and I collect for my children, it's marked as
Done.
collected.
Right.
And so I think I think there's been like 5 cases over the years. I mean, it's not a
Right.
big thing, but
Right.
again,
Right.
there's a fail safe there. So,
Yeah.
so if somebody tries to go to Norwich, we go, oh, we saw we already picked up. You already picked up, you
Yeah.
know, and
Right.
so
Yes.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot, and they forgot, and we
But I'm glad you said that because, some people want to donate, but they always kind of wonder where their money's going. Is there someone taking advantage? Do you have a system where people can take advantage? That makes it harder for people to donate their hard-earned money or
Right.
their,
Right.
their new toy that could have gone to their kids. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
So it's there.
Yeah.
And one
So
of the
that's
things
awesome.
we really try to do is keep the toys in the area where they're donated.
Right.
So the Norwich Police
Right.
Department, those toys go to the Norwich site.
Right.
The
What we collect
the
up here,
troopers in the local police departments,
Northeast,
those stay
here.
Those stay here, and then so
Yeah.
because it's all local, right?
Right.
Eastern
Right.
Connecticut's not that big, but
Right.
but people, it's still we try to keep it there because I think that makes people feel better that
It does.
maybe a kid that they know or
Right,
or
exactly.
in their
Right.
town will benefit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, buy local, hire local, volunteer local,
local.
donate local.
Absolutely.
I just love the idea of our independent, or our economy in this area being independent more and more and more. And the more, entrepreneurs we have, the more, the more revenue you have coming in, and being distributed within our own little, financial ecosystem where then, if you're making a good living, owning your own business, you're more apt to be able to donate to places like this,
Exactly.
And I've seen, I know Eastern or Northeastern Connecticut isn't, it's not the Gold Coast, right?
Right.
But it's the most generous group of people I think I've met.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, whether you've got money or you're not, people give what they can.
I'm staring at 2 of them right now. I mean, a decade of service, that's just unbelievable. How long have you been doing it?
It's been a little bit less. So when I was editor at the Bulletin, traditionally the publisher was the president of the Tommy Toy Fund, and the new publisher at that time wasn't really familiar with the area, so I got volunteered and
Voluntold?
voluntold, and like everybody else, you just do it once and you want to keep doing
Yeah.
it. I haven't
Yeah.
worked for the Bulletin in 3.5 years. This is the 4th year that I've even been affiliated with it, but I'm still with the Toy Fund.
Right.
Wow.
So it's hard to, it's hard to get out. Once you're in, it's hard to.
It's a good cause.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very good cause. And I think through the years, we fine-tuned things. So it's, it doesn't involve a lot of meetings. We're kind of like a well-oiled machine at this point. But
Right.
it would be good to get new people in, just so eventually we could,
Right.
step
Someone to
step away.
succeed
Yeah.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and new ideas all the
Or
time.
new ideas,
Right.
essentially,
Yeah, new
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
for the fundraising.
So you guys don't do many like cash fundraisers. Most of it is all toy generated fundraisers.
Well,
where
when-
people will bring cash.
When we were doing that gala, which was a lot of fun, at Raceway, I picked up a few Dallas Cowboys items there. I've got a Troy.
Whoa, Dallas
I've got
Cowboys
Troy
fan.
Aikman on my wall. Patriots. That's okay. You've had your turn. Come on.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
And so it was a great time. So again, that was to raise money for
Right.
the Toy Fund, and I think at its peak, it was raising anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000
Wow.
at a time. But when the person who was doing it, he was a great guy, but I think it was very time consuming
Yeah.
because he was writing to Mike Ditka and
Right.
writing to all these teams saying, "Can you send something or sign something?" And he got the results, but it took a long time.
He did it all year.
Yeah.
He just
Wow.
did all
And
year,
so-
writing letters and
Yeah.
And so the largest fundraiser that we have now is through the Eastern Connecticut Chamber of Commerce through their foundation.
Right.
And so they do a big winter gala,
Mm-hmm.
and the Tommy Toy Fund is the largest recipient of that.
Oh, wow.
oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in every April they distribute. This year I think we received $15,000.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, so it's been great. So
that's good.
it's a little more formal, black tie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
chocolate fountains at the Mohegan Sun.
that
Yeah,
sounds
yeah, it
so-
was
Wow.
Incredible.
nice and swanky.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You haven't been?
I'd never been.
Carving station.
Oh.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I've never been.
When do they do this? And how do you?
yeah.
How do you get
Missed it.
tickets?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we missed it. Good. We're gonna buy a table next year. That's awesome.
No, I've never been, so
I'll let the foundation know.
I wasn't sure where the money actually came from.
Yeah, so-
since we stopped.
And their thing is again all children's charity. So
Yes.
whether it's
Oh, okay.
whether it's Madonna place or a horse riding place for the disabled kids or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all
That's
it's all
nice.
focused on children. Yeah.
That's nice.
That's great.
That's awesome. Huh. Well then, I will say I was telling my mom this morning that Tommy Toy Fun was coming on my show, and she could not write a check fast enough.
Wow.
So, from my family, my mom to you guys,
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic and very generous. Yeah. Patty, thank you so much.
Patty.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, she
Appreciate
watching?
that.
She might be. Sometimes they catch it on the repost.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Patty, thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when kids benefit from stuff like this, that's where we got to go. That's where I feel like is the place to concentrate on when it comes to charity and giving. And when you have that generation having a good experience, they're more apt to do the same for the generation coming behind them.
Right. Yep.
It basically becomes genetic.
Absolutely. You build a good foundation for
Right.
success, and that breeds it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've had some of our volunteers have brought their high school students with them to
yeah.
volunteer as well.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of nice because they have to put in hours for community
Right.
service.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Plus, it gives them insight on what it is to volunteer, and they
Correct.
leave feeling great about it
Right.
and
Right.
enjoying themselves and knowing they did good for someone else. And
right,
today's day and age, it's good for them to feel that.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's how I started donating blood. Actually, in high school, they had the Red Cross came in, got to get out of class.
Yeah.
got to take a needle, but
Got a cookie.
Yeah, and an
Orange
orange
juice.
juice
Orange
or an
juice.
apple.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still doing it?
oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
Still,
Wow.
How many gallons are you up to by now?
I actually took a little time off in my 20s. I had some very good partying years, which
Sure.
I wouldn't trade in. But now I typically go every other month when I can.
Wow.
And I got to be getting on a gallon. I got to check. It's on the app. I should check. But I actually have O negative.
I do. too.
So it goes like right to children. It goes
okay.
right to babies. So like when the babies are having an issue and they need a transfusion, the doctors can just grab that blood and donate it because it's the
Universal.
universal donator. Yeah. So yeah. If it went to adults, maybe I wouldn't do it. No, just
funny.
kidding.
So speaking of that, we have age groups for toy distribution. Just a little plug for us.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and usually the hardest to buy for are the older kids.
Yes.
And so again, if anyone's ever had an 11-year-old daughter,
Yep.
good luck,
Both
buying
do.
for them. Yeah, and I did as well. Yeah, and so, but we found out that this year we're doing really well with the youngest kids and the oldest kids. But what we're really looking for, if anybody still wants to donate toys, is boys and girls ages 3 to 9.
3 to
So
9.
the setups
Okay.
are ages 3, 4, 5. So a toy in there, and ages 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, then 9 to 12 is the oldest kid.
Now,
So-
do you guys publish? Put that on Facebook. On the just what you're looking for, right? If you're coming down to crunch time in October and you're missing this age group, do you publish that, or you just kind of hope you get what
Well,
you need?
we do outreach like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the because you never really know what you're going to get, because
Right.
when somebody walks into a Dollar General or
Yeah.
a job lot,
Yeah.
especially if they have a kid with them, chances are it's a toy that kid wants, too, right? So whether it's a 2-year-old
Yeah.
or a 12-year-old, so you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
But right now, that's what we're seeing is that need is there for
Yeah.
for that age group. So.
Okay.
And I will say, growing up, try to always remember my childhood and put it in perspective. Legos were always,
Yeah.
even until I was 40, which is now.
And you're still doing Legos.
I love
My
Legos.
son and daughter love Legos, and yeah, it's sometimes hard not to do them on them. 'Cause-
On it. My son's
Yeah.
26 and he still gets Lego set every Christmas.
For
Yeah.
him.
They have my son likes to watch the Lego Masters on one of the
Yes.
streaming things, and that's all adults.
Yeah.
and they're super into it. And yeah, just doing the Legos. You basically reading a blueprint and doing it, and you know, I think it's helped. It helped me as you know, in just your scope of education, and it's definitely helped my son and my daughter. And one Christmas when he was, I think he was like 5 or 6, he was he just got ill, and we weren't going to go to any of the parties on Christmas Day, so it was like, and we had, between us, family members, and Santa, had gotten him, I think the count was almost 2,000 pieces worth of sets.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, he's going to be good for Christmas vacation, you know. And
Did it all in
he
one
just-
day.
He did it all in that one day.
Oh, my
And I
goodness.
was like, well, you're going to have to play with him or go downstairs and do free build. Because, he just sat at his desk and just was like one after another. And, you know, if you're not feeling good, then, you know, between that and laying around, that's really, you know.
Yeah.
One of the cool things we've seen with Legos the last few years is the flower sets. Have you
Yeah.
seen those?
Yes.
My
Yeah.
daughter's
My son has
decorates her
4.
room with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of those that my daughter's built, including there's a Thanksgiving centerpiece this year that we use. So it's
Oh
pretty.
wow.
It was pretty
Oh,
cool.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, so there's
That's
some
wild.
you know, some wildflowers
Yeah.
and some desert plants and
Yeah, they've just gone wild with the things that they can do with Legos now. We've been to Brickfest, and it's just amazing what, you know, between flower sets, they have like skylines.
Oh, yeah,
they
the
do like
skylines.
building sky, like a New York skyline. And, I mean, and I watched Friends grow. You know, it's kind of an adult comedy. And they have those in Legos.
oh yeah,
Right.
You know Legos are for adults.
for everything. There's a Seinfeld one.
Yeah.
There's Star
You know,
Wars, and you know,
my
that
son
are
is a May
little
the
bit
4th.
higher.
He was born on May the 4th.
Oh,
and that's
wow.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
He keeps asking for the Millennium Falcon. For, I don't know if you know how much those cost, but
Oh yeah. It's
like
Legos are up
$800.
there.
It's like
Yeah.
$800. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, for your birthday and Christmas
Yes.
and next
Next
year's
year's
birthday.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, hold on.
Yeah, some of them are pretty
Yeah.
pricey.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, and large. My daughter finished like a 1,000 one. She's big in Harry Potter and has one of those.
Oh, there's
yeah.
a nice Harry Potter. one.
We're big. Yeah, we're big Disney fans too, so they have a bunch of Disney ones too. But
Yeah.
yeah, Lego goes far for everyone. It seems. So
And Lego is a good educational toy.
Yeah.
If you wanted to donate to the Tommy Toy
Yeah.
Fund. How about
That's
that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well
education
taken.
is
Oh.
perfect. Yeah.
And art supplies too. I feel like, and you guys
Art
get
supplies.
kits.
Yep.
There's always like the art supplies, and that's something that, I mean, a box of crayons can even go to the youngest. You know what I mean? And then like other art supplies can be age appropriate, but is really no limit to, you know, paper and things that make marks. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like different papers
We-
or coloring books and.
We were
Stuff
very
like that.
lucky last year. The Burns Agency is a huge collector for us too. They fill their lobby in Dayville, and someone had put together just that package. It had like a sketch pad, a coloring book, pens, pencils, sharpeners, rulers. It was like a whole kit, and they must have done, I don't know, like 20 sets of them at least.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, those
That's
are
wonderful.
awesome.
yeah,
I think those were pre-bagged.
Plus they're
I think I
universal.
Pre-bagged,
remember that.
remember? Yeah, tied with a nice ribbon.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mike
Beautiful.
Matera a few years ago got it was like a suitcase, you know, with the color
Right. Oh,
pencils
yeah.
and everything,
Like
for
an
the-
art
for
set.
the older
Yeah.
girls. And I go, and
That was a great
I
idea.
said, that was great. And my daughter, I think she was 16 or 17 at the time. I went and bought one at a store,
Yeah.
you know, to give to my daughter for Christmas.
Those
That was
things
a great idea.
Wonderful.
span multiple ages.
Right.
Is a really
Exactly.
good, a really good
Exactly.
donation.
All those things spark creativity and,
Exactly.
and learning,
Right.
and that's like so beneficial. And yeah, books, art supplies, Legos, you know, stuff you got to put together. Use your hands.
Right.
Keep the kids off the screens
Yeah, or interact with others.
Right.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
after they watch my show. Of course.
Of course, of course. Or we could take it on the road and recreate it at
That's right,
different
yeah.
sites on stages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. My son is watching us with a glare.
He heard us talking about him.
Sorry, buddy.
Got some Lego talk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is there any comments, questions?
No, we don't have any comments tonight.
Okay. I think this is a great place to end it. If you guys got anything to add, any last minute thoughts, feel free.
I think if people want to either volunteer or come see us, we'll be there at the Daybell site on Saturday between 11:30 and 3:30. If they want to just come talk to somebody or see what goes on but behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll say if you're on the fence and you get over to that Daybell site and just feel the vibe, it's
Or if they want to come, if they want to drop off toys, we'll be there.
nice.
And Facebook's a great.
And Facebook,
Great
you
option
can reach
to
out
reach
by
out.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
very, very easy with just plugging in Tommy Toy Fun. So.
And for recipients, dress warm.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Come at a good time. You don't have to set your alarm.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are the hours on Wednesday and Thursday?
It's 9 to 7 on Wednesday.
Eight.
and
I believe it's 8.
Now
this
it's
year.
8. We changed it. You're right. And 9 to 1 on Thursday.
8 to 1.
Oh,
8
it
to
starts
1.
at 8.
I believe it's 8 to 1 both
You're
days.
absolutely right.
We're getting
So
up
we-
early. Let's go
So we're
at 8.
getting up early. But again, you don't have to be there at 5 or
Right.
6
Right.
p.m. And so
We
and
never
if-
run out. Please
and-
don't be standing in the
and-
cold.
Yeah, and if you don't register, there'll be an opportunity if there's toys left to do that
On the second day.
on the
yep.
second day to
Yep.
to
Okay,
get
so 8 to
toys.
7 on Wednesday the 13th
Correct.
in Dayville at Killingly Commons, right?
Yep. And then the other two
And then-
sites.
Yep.
At Reliance Health in downtown Norwich on
Yep.
Main Street and the Gemma Moran Food Center in New London.
Okay.
And
And,
those-
then Thursday is 8 to 1, same site.
At all
three
sites.
sites.
Yes.
Yep.
And the addresses are on the Facebook site.
Okay. Perfect.
And then the agencies where they can register are also listed on the Facebook site.
Okay.
Awesome. And,
Perfect.
And I want to extend open invitation. Anytime you guys want to come on, it's been a blast talking with you.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super good cause. You're always welcome at the Community Workbench for sure.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
When's the Lego show? We'll do that. We'll bring my son and the giant.
Right?
Thanks again for having us.
Yes.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
us, Matt. Appreciate it.
So glad you guys can make it. I'll end with thanks for watching, everyone. Join us Monday at 6:30 when we interview owner-operator of Aria Wood Designs by John Cretion. He'll be here a week from today. As always, buy local, hire local, volunteer local, donate local, and have great days, everybody.